Hello, Cancer. Welcome to House of Alicia Lee. This is a new moon reading for the period of mid-June to mid-July 2026. I will be discussing the sidereal Vedic Astrology for Cancer rising. If you have placements, sun or moon in Cancer, this might be useful for you as well. I look at the astrology through the lens of planets as chakras, and let's get started. I'm starting with the chakra soul star, which resides above the body, and I've assigned it the role of the south node of the moon. The south node of the moon is in Leo this month in the constellation of Maga. The constellation Maga symbol is the peach trees, the ancestors, and a royal palanquin, a throne, basically. And so this constellation, when planets are in this constellation, we are able to access the gifts from our ancestors to achieve achievement in the world, to create a throne for ourselves in the world. This constellation is prominent in the charts of many artists and musicians because they have the ability to to channel creatively information from the ethers. So having the south node of the moon in this constellation is ruled by the south node of the moon. It's a very auspicious placement at this time. And it's in effect for plus or minus 6 months or so this year. For Cancer rising, this is the second house, meaning that your downloads and messages from spirit this month could come from, and for give or take the next 6 months, could be coming from your close family. Your downloads could be with the second house influence related to your value system or your personal sense of value for yourself or others. Your creative downloads could be leading you toward saving and investing more instead of spending or gambling, as the second house rules savings. The second house also rules our family of origin and our face, our voice. Second house is prominent in the charts of singers. You could be receiving, quite literally, gifts from your family of origin with this Maga constellation highlighted right now in your second house. So just some thoughts. I like to advise all of the constellations about the south node of the moon, where your inspiration might come this month. Try singing in the shower. Singing is strongly related to the second house. Or try creative daydreaming while you're eating your meals. Eating meals is also related to the second house. So just some ideas there. The next placement I want to talk about are the sun and the moon. And in this layout, and in sidereal astrology, they're assigned to the left and the right eye, or the third eye area of the body for the chakras. The sun is said to be the left eye, and the moon is said to be the right eye. And when the sun and moon come together once a month, we are able to focus on a new area of life, because the sun moves very slowly in the sky, but the moon travels the entire sky once every month. So when they come together, we have our two thought centers focused in the same area. The June new moon this month is in the constellation of Mrigashira. It was at the very late degrees of Taurus in your 11th house, and then the very next day moved into the early degrees of Gemini in your 12th house. And throughout the month, the sun will traverse the constellations Ardra and Punarvasu. And so this area of the sky, this is Gemini, basically the sign of Gemini. The early degrees of Gemini talk about this curiosity to leave the Garden of Eden and find bliss, or Soma. The mid Gemini portion talks about a loss of some kind, like the fall from grace, the separation from unity consciousness that we experience when we're connected with God, or some kind of traumatic experience. And then the late portion of Gemini in the sky talks about recovering from that trauma. And this is Aditi. She's a mothering goddess, and she is prominent in the charts of a lot of counselors. She's very nurturing and a helpful guide for those recovering from loss. This for Cancer is your first and second house lords going through the 11th and 12th houses. And your first house, the moon, travels the sky once every month, so it's used to moving quickly. Your second house lord is the sun. It doesn't travel quite as fast, but it again relates to those second house themes we talked about: the family of origin, your personal values. The emphasis here for Cancer this month is a 12th house transit. The 12th house, the easy way to describe the 12th house is loss or subtraction, but that's not entirely accurate. The 12th house is a withdrawal from exterior life and an expansion into your interior life, in an advance of a change of identity, which happens after the 12th house when we get back to the first house. So this month's transit for Cancer is about withdrawing from your some of your social activities, which you might have been real busy with last month, withdrawing a little bit more in your exterior world and going within to allow yourself to dream up new expressions of your natural identity, which we'll talk about a little bit more in this spread, because there are several first house placements, 12th and first house placements going on. The next planet I want to talk about is Mercury, or the throat chakra. Mercury in the sky this month is transiting Punarvasu. So along with the sun and moon, it is receiving the combustion, as we say, from the sun, which means there's a heavy focus on Mercury-related issues and problems and resolving those problems. It's also crossing signs from Gemini into Cancer and then retrograding back into Gemini. This month, between mid-June and mid-July, Mercury is quite strong in Gemini. It is its own sign, but it finds a difficult home in Cancer, which is watery and more subjective and less discerning and discreet. And for Cancer, Mercury is your third house lord and your 12th house lord. Going through your 12th house of Gemini, and then we'll be nosing into Cancer, and then backing back out of it round about the first part of July. Take this time to use the power of the strong exalted Mercury in its own sign in your 12th house to expand upon your interior life, and perhaps review back if you have a bucket list or a wish list of things that you've been wanting to do in life but have put off for some reason or the other. Now is a good time to look at the details of those and see try and break those goals and dreams down into a little bit more actionable steps, like how, if I were to make this happen, what would that look like? Even if you don't feel like you can make it happen, just being able to be discriminating and describe all of the steps and make it more bite-sized will help you have the capacity to envision more for yourself, for those things that you do feel that you do feel you have the capacity to do. Breaking them down into smaller pieces could be helpful for you at this time. And again, the constellation Punarvasu is talking about if you're having trouble with your interior life, if you find that you ruminate or you're a little bit obsessive about things, you might find the advice of a good trusted friend or a counselor quite helpful for you at this time. The planet Mercury ruling the heart chakra is between Cancer and Leo this month. At the beginning of the month in mid-June, Venus is in the constellation of Pushya, which has a symbol of this teacher this teacher, and the animal symbol is a nurturing cow. It's about student-teacher relationships, sort of nurturing young people and providing structure and guidance in a masculine way. It moves into the late degrees of Cancer, into Ashlesha, this constellation about rising up, using the power of our will to rise up in life like a snake coiled. It's related to Kundalini energy. And then it will dip into Leo early July, into the constellation of Maga with the south node of the moon. And again, this is talking about these inherited gifts from our ancestors, are accessing the gifts that we have earned previously, accessing the fruits of those gifts. Cancer, Venus is your 4th and 11th lord, ruling Taurus, Libra, and Taurus. So it's a natural signifier for your home life and your community life. And for you, it's moving through your 1st and 2nd house. Your Cancer is the rulership of Venus of the 4th and 11th houses for Cancer makes Cancer quite attached to home and family with the 4th house rulership, and their community with the 11th house rulership. And the planet Venus is moving through your 1st and 2nd house. Venus is not comfortable in Cancer because Cancer is about those unequal relationships like parent, child, teacher, student, whereas Venus is related to equal relationships like equality between romantic partners or equality in business or commerce. So, and the similar things can be said about Venus in Leo. Not uh, it's not a comfortable place for Venus to be in your second house either. So the advice here is to sort of allow yourself to withdraw from a little bit from family and community matters this month in order to use that time to go within a little bit more. And then when Venus moves past Leo and Virgo into Libra here in August or so, those 4th and 11th house, the Venus will be strong again, and you will be naturally inspired to go out into your community more and externalize those things that you've been working on. The next planet, Mars, or the solar plexus chakra, is moving from Aries to Taurus this month in the sky. Mars mid-June is in the constellation of Bharani. Bharani is ruled by the god Yama here, who is said to rule birth and death, and talks about taking responsibility for the choices that we make in life. So, for example, Aries, the constellation before Bharani, talks about conception, and Bharani, in the middle portion of Aries, talks about when we conceive, we have to carry the child or decide to not carry the child. It is a responsibility that we must bear. And the later portions of this month and into July, he'll be in Kritika Nakshatra. Kritika constellation is ruled by the fire god Agni, and Agni is more focused on than Bharani. Bharani has a little bit of this cutting energy, but Kritika really has the fire, the internal fire to cut out things that are no good for it, not working. It's quite a strong Mars energy, and Mars in its own sign is quite powerful here. And then closer to the next new moon in July, Mars will be fully in Taurus in Kritika and then in Rohini. And Rohini is a more feminine sign. It's ruled by the moon, and it talks about sort of abundance, nurturing abundance, growing things creatively, as Rohini is a very creative and fertile sign. For Cancer, Mars is your 5th and 10th Lord, which is a very strong and positive influence for all Cancers, wherever Mars is placed in your horoscope. At this time, Mars is the 5th and 10th Lord, moving through the 10th house and the 11th house. So Cancer, for all Cancers, naturally, Mars is your 10th house Lord, so quite naturally relating to your career or how you're recognized in the world. And your career Lord is in the career house and moving into this house of community networking and associations. So you could have been experiencing a strong push in your career over the last month or so. As Mars slides into Taurus, he's still strong, but not quite as strong as in Aries. And so hopefully those career projects have wrapped up or completed, and you may find yourself a little bit more interested in what's going on in your community rather than push, push, push for your career. The planet Jupiter is big news this month. Early June, Jupiter moved into Cancer in your first house, into its sign of exaltation, which means Jupiter is quite strong in the sky right now and will be for the next 3 to 6 months. In your first house, expanding your perhaps your physical body, hopefully not too much, expanding your sense of person, how you take up space in the world, your and your presence, like your self-confidence. And Jupiter will be in the Cancer constellations of Pushya and Punarvasu. And both of these are teachers, so to speak. Brahaspati is the teacher, more of a formal teacher. Punarvasu is a Diti, is more of like a mothering, like a counselor type. Jupiter quite naturally is known to be a sign of teachers, or a planet of teachers. So, and being quite strong in Cancer, you could be feeling the desire to either explore teachings and teachers or become a teacher yourself of some kind. For Cancer, Jupiter is your 6th and 9th lord, which means that he rules the 6th house, which talks about overcoming obstacles, and the 9th house, which is a house of teachings, more specifically beliefs, philosophies, and all the things associated with those, like university or religious institutions or law. So very strong placement of Jupiter in your first house this month and for the next couple months. If you have been thinking of putting out a program, a product, an offering, sharing your knowledge with others, now is the time to do it. You have all systems go for that. Saturn, ruling the root chakra in this layout, ruling Aquarius and Capricorn, is in the sign of Pisces this month. Saturn is the slowest moving planet in the sky, and that's why he's associated with the root, which is connected to foundations, the foundations we build for our life supporting systems like our water systems, our electricity, our aircon, our food systems, all of our emergency, all of our life support systems, right? Saturn, our architecture, our buildings. I'm saying this, Saturn's in Revati right now in the sign of Pisces. Neither extra strong or extra weak, but exploring this energy here, Revati. The deity for Revati nakshatra is Pushan, which is a shepherd, and Pushan in Vedic cosmology is often compared to Jesus. He's not quite as popular, but he is a shepherd. He is said to lead souls from one plane of existence to another plane of existence, because Pisces is the last constellation in this series, and Revati is the last sign of the 27 constellations before the rebirth in Ashwini in Aries. There's a little messages on the backs of these cards. Sometimes these are helpful. You can make a career out of ancient cultures, mysticism, and public life. You can give fertility to projects with your creative intelligence. Abundance comes to you through your faith, devotion, and intuitive gifts. It's quite a Pisces. You know, when we talk about all the things about Pisces with the two fishes, Revati really is a strong reason why those are associated with Pisces. All of those Pisces associations apply here. Cancer, Saturn is your seventh and eighth lord. And so Cancers have the fortunate or unfortunate outcome of having your partnerships include this eighth house element. That means that your romantic partners often either help you transform your life in some way or cause you to reflect on transforming in some way, or are related to the transformative associations, such as deep psychology or surgeons or such things like that. This is the seventh and eighth lord in the ninth house. So again, this ninth house association, which was reflected with Jupiter being in your first house, Jupiter, your ninth lord. If you've taken any lessons from your relationships over the past few years, you had the seventh lord in the seventh house for quite some time, in Capricorn and Aquarius over the last 6 or 7 years, and then it went through the eighth house, and now Saturn's in the ninth house. If you must have accumulated some wisdom from these transits. I'm guessing now is the time that you can make sense of that with the exalted Mercury in your 12th house and use that to share with other people. Become this guide. And so there is a lot of Jupiter and teachery energy right now, but this Pushan is a little bit different of a guide than Aditi and Prahaspati, because Pushan is Jupiter's in Pisces, which is Jupiter's feminine expression. These expressions of counselors in the Cancer sign are quite more assertive and more traditional, and the Pisces Jupiter Saturn energy is more reflective, more receptive, and kind of waits for people to come to him when they are ready. So, so there's an element of, this is reflecting an element of, you might not have the best results about shouting from the rooftops your teachings, but if you put them out into the world, the right people who are receptive will come to you and find you, and you just need to put a flag up, so to speak. You need to be available so that people can find you and come to you. The last chakra I want to talk about is the north node of the moon with this Earth Star chakra. And the north node of the moon, as I said, with the south node of the moon, is in this blessed, auspicious alignment right now, where the constellation it's sitting in is also ruled by the north node of the moon. So this is Shadabisha, which the symbol is 100 physicians, 100 stars, or an empty vessel here. And this is the center of Aquarius, where the north node is placed. We see this picture of this man pouring out from his pitcher. This is the traditional Aquarius symbolism of pouring out from the pitcher, the ether. The nodes move slowly, about one sign per year. The north node is about 2/3 of the way through Aquarius. This month, the north node of the moon is moving into the constellation of Dhanista. And Dhanista symbol is a drum, and the deities is that it has a collection of deities, which are sort of elemental spirits of nature, which relates to the way Janista loves to be in nature. And also the drum relates to the power of timing and beating the drum so that others may follow. For Cancer, these are your 8th house placements where the north node is, showing that your desire, your earth star manifestation, and your Rahu desire to consume new knowledge on earth is placed in the 8th house right now. So you may be consuming a lot of occult knowledge right now, or you could be consuming knowledge about medical healing. This is a sign associated with a lot of medical specialties. With it moving into Dhanista, that could be moving from a desire to learn and be reclusive to a desire to be more upfront and in the world and assertive. Dhanista is related with fame and popularity because Dhanista has an inner knowing, and when it has a knowing, it has the willpower to beat the drum so that others may follow the path. I feel that ties in well with all the things we've been talking about for Cancer, about using your time to reflect in the 12th house, thinking about how you want to reinvent your identity in the next couple of months, focusing on your teachings and what you've learned in relationships. And an 8th house could be, like the association of the 8th house is is a feminine Mars placement. It's so that's, instead of using your willpower to exert out into the world, we use our willpower, our Mars power, to exert internally to conquer the things that are making us weak, so that we can be stronger and more whole individuals. So if any of those 8th house themes resonate with you this month, I wish you the best on that. I did pull a couple of oracle cards because I just love oracle cards and I thought they might be helpful. We have one oracle card related to what you're bringing in from the ancestors with this soul star chakra. The title is Ein So Far, and I probably pronounced that wrong. Let me read a little bit from the book for you, for Mine So Far. A way through the struggle has already been created for you, and you are being led onto that path. Your authentic soul path may include recognition and acclaim, notable success and admiration. Be grateful, but do not be dazzled or distracted by such experiences. Focus on what connects you to your heart and grounds you in this simplicity of spiritual truth, which is the practice of love, kindness, and peace. This will allow for successful progress in the material world without disturbing the sanctity of your soul. I think that's really beautiful. I think Cancer people naturally just focus on love and their heart and spiritual truth. I want to read from the book for the North Node, placement for Rahu, about grounding this celestial energy this month. And I've drawn against the grain. Let's see. Against the grain. This is really bringing up those 8 house themes. You want birds to be able to fly underwater. You want love to trump power. You want humanity to relate to each other as equals and to recognize the sacredness in you and in the world around you. You want to unleash the beauty that hides in even the ugliest of scenes or sentiments. You want to make possible what others say cannot be. You are a radical dreamer, a sacred rebel, and you bring the light of a more positive future to this world. However, this can have its burdens. Deep within you, you may feel that you don't really fit in with the rest of the world. Perhaps your sense of how things can be and how they really are is so different to the smaller minds or more fearful hearts of many others that you are rarely received for all that you offer. This might make you feel frustrated, thwarted, or lonely at times. The universe so loves you for your unusual take on things, for the quirkiness in you that dares to honor that which is different and renders the impossible possible. You must never ever lose your unusual ways and become dry, serious, appropriate, and conventional, not even for appearance's sake, for you would lose your essence. You are here to show that life is about so much more than conventional success. This oracle comes with a special message for you. You are someone who lives and breathes in the depths of creative waters. You need to lose yourself to the flow of music, nature, dreams, imagination, and fantasy through art and literature, meditation, dance, and in sensual surrender to the sacred waters of the ocean, the river, the lake, or the bathtub. Well, that really breaks up those 12th house themes. That sun, new moon in your 12th house. Yeah. There's a healing message at the end here. Close your eyes and relax. Take 7 deep breaths in and out as you bring your awareness into your body and the space that exists within your body. When you are relaxed, imagine, sense, or perceive a winding river of golden light that starts below your feet. Sense it gathering there as a pool of liquid golden energy. It has an intelligence of its own, and it winds its way into beautiful patterns before you, flowing with grace and playfulness. This river of light symbolizes your life journey. Just notice it and enjoy it. See that your life journey is unique. You may focus on your own river of life or expand your awareness to sense the rivers of light that represent the journeys of those around you. You may see, sense, or feel that their paths are unique to them also. No one has the exact same journey to take, even though we are all heading towards the one destination of absolute love. I really feel this. Really feel that with that soul star chakra, that your life path and the life path of Gaia are in harmony, and what you want is what's wanting you, and what you want is what the world needs. So follow your guidance, even if you have to go underwater for a while to find it. I hope you have a blessed month, Cancer. Love you very much. Thank you. Bye.